Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hashtag Dork. My name is Rich Keefe, joined as always by Davey Eyeballs. He is Rapple Von Dapple. He is Davey Eyeballs. All hail the king of ginger ale. It's Ryan. Davey, how are you?
Not having a good night, Richard, so far.
Shit, why not? What's the
I'm
problem?
not having a good night. Well, for those of you who are watching on the YouTube, you might notice that I look a little different than I did last time.
Yeah, what happened to the mustache?
I went to trim it.
Fuck.
Might have gone a little overboard.
You did more than trim it.
So I actually, if you can't tell, I have a beard, but it looks like it blends in with the beard. It's actually a little longer than the rest of my face, but I got to fix it. I did it just before we got on the air, so now I have to go back and fix it.
Yikes. Because I was going to say, I didn't want to I'm like, we still got almost 2 weeks.
We got 2 weeks.
We got
2 weeks left. Yeah, and I screwed it up. It was getting in my mouth, if you can believe that. And then I could, it was like getting food in it. And then I was like, all right, then I put on the wrong attachment on the thing. So Rich will pop back in a second. It'll be fine. He's gone. It's fine. We'll just wait for him to come back. There he is.
There. I don't know what happened there.
He's back. We'll fix that in post.
Damn it.
I was talking to the people while you were gone. I'm like, yeah, he'll be back any minute.
I honestly don't know what I hit. All of a sudden, I was no longer in the room.
But as I was saying, I put the wrong attachment on the shaver, and now we got to fix this. So
took it down real close.
All it takes, I just got to shave. I just got to shave again, like the rest of my face, and it'll be fine. My face will look chubby for a couple days.
That's the good thing. If you don't know Ryan Davey, if he shaves his mustache off in a day, tomorrow
comes
it'll be back.
Right back. Yep.
That's probably been the case since sophomore year,
8th grade. So there that is. Yep.
Ryan, we are right in the thick of the best of the decade series here on Hashtag Dork. Anything jump out at you, or any kind of response that we got from the best TV shows of the decade? I know there was definitely a few people were surprised we didn't have on there, like Mr. Robot. We didn't mention, which was definitely very good. And then
I would say, hot take, it was good for a season.
Yeah.
And
I thought it kind of legioned, where all of a sudden I don't know what the hell's going on, and it's too much.
And the other one we got was Justified, which I'm told is a very good show, but fell victim to the you can't watch everything kind of thing.
You really can't. You can't watch everything. So what are you going to do? But this one, I think, has a real chance to be even more intense. I think
this is going to be intense. And
people are going
to I want to say to everyone listening right now, not that we are a team. Rich and I are a team. Ride or die.
Yeah.
This was not my fault.
Well, listen, a lot of the ones that are in the top 10 were on your list.
They were, right.
You need to kind of lean into it a little bit. You can't just throw me out there for the wolves.
Nope.
Because I fully admit I don't play as many video games as you, but the games that I do play, I feel like a lot of them are really good. So,
and you pick your spots very well.
Yes, right.
So
if I'm going to devote time, because I am a big proponent of, and we'll get into this more when we're doing it, but unlike you, I basically play one at a time.
Oh yeah, I have 3 going at any given time. I have 3 video games going.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'll talk about it later. But there's one that kind of snuck up on me that I was reading reviews for, and I'm like, I should probably get this game.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about that in a minute.
All right, very good, very very nice. Ryan, what do you say we get to the old news?
Let's hit it.
All right. First thing is, we are in what I think is being called the golden age of television. There is great things on TV right now.
Yeah.
And I think in all seriousness, the last 5 to 10 years, the last decade might be the best in television, because for a long time, it was just NBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox that had shows. And now you have everything, from Netflix to HBO to now Disney Plus. And basically within the span of a week, or actually really just like 3 days, we got a new episode of The Mandalorian, a new episode of Watchmen, and a new episode of Rick and Morty. Which hard to beat, man. Right there. Man. That's everything you want, especially for a dork podcast. You have a Star Wars show, a Watchmen show, and then whatever you want to categorize Rick and Morty as. Like that might be the strongest trifecta going.
It's crazy. It's crazy to me, like how good. And like you said, it used to be you have your big networks, but now like anybody, like out of left, can have like the best show on TV. don't sleep on like Amazon with The Boys and like Miss Maisel and like all these shows. But my goodness, are we having some fun right now, huh?
We're having a nice little time. And Ryan, I was accused, and I think perhaps tongue in cheek, but I was accused of spoiling something in The Mandalorian, which I would say maybe.
It got spoiled. It got spoiled for you, and like
it got spoiled for me the morning Disney Plus launched. Like, unless you watched the episode of The Mandalorian at like the minute it launched and you got in there with no problems and watched it, that was the only way you could have avoided it. So I had waited well over a week. There's been 2 episodes. It's one of those things where if people want to see it, they've seen it. And oh, by the way, Jon Favreau is tweeting about it. Every single person that watches that show is tweeting about it.
So we can talk about it right now, right?
Yes.
If it's already been spoiled.
Yeah, on our Twitter at DORK Podcast. And if you're terrified of the Mandalorian spoilers, then skip ahead 2 minutes.
Or go watch it, for Christ's sake.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
All right, well, pause the episode and go watch it and come back. Right.
Here's the issue I have. So skip ahead for 2 minutes. Hit the 30-second button and we'll get
a couple times over.
Stop calling it Baby Yoda.
Yeah, it's not Yoda. It's not Yoda. No.
It's not Yoda. Stop calling him Baby Yoda.
But if he's really 50 years old, Ryan, this little guy was alive during episode 1.
So he could be Yoda's son.
You know what I think? Yoda. And I don't want to be crass, but I feel like Yoda did so much Yoda fucking with all of the plants.
And what is the female Yoda's name? If we're getting ready for Star Wars trivia with Goo, what is the female Yoda's name?
Female Yoda.
She's on the Jedi Council.
Maud.
Her name is Yaddle. I'm not making that up.
So you think he was intimate with her, maybe?
Yoda and Yaddle got after it.
You think they did? And then they're just... But don't you think if Yoda was on Dagobah all by himself...
Self-imposed exile. But he had been there... Let's see. He was 800 years old when he died. And he had only been there for like 50 years. So Yoda could have gotten up to some Yoda, you know?
Don't you think Yoda is just kind of like a dirty guy? He's just kind of like into every plant and every animal.
If species age differently, does that also mean that the gestation period for a Yoda would be longer?
Could be.
I don't know.
These are questions we have. But the one thing I also like about it, about The Mandalorian, is when they first pitched it to everybody, they were like, hey, this takes place so far away from like the politics of Star Wars, and they're like, this is going to be so separate from that. Like, yes, it's in the universe, but very loosely. And then episode 1, you're like, no, this is balls deep.
Star Wars stuff, and I love it. It's Star Wars stuff that they've never really explored before. Like you said, I've read some of the fiction. I've read some of the comic books, and the Mandalorian lore is actually really cool, and I'm glad that they're getting into it. So
I fucking love the show.
I love it.
Watchmen, meanwhile, is just past the halfway point. I think we were looking at 9 episodes. We just saw episode 5.
On Monday.
Yep. Boy, this is a nice show.
What a nice show, and very well acted by everybody.
Yeah.
Looking Glass is my favorite character in the show.
So this was a Looking Glass episode.
It was a Looking Glass episode. So you kind of got a peek behind that curtain and why I think that's it's super cool.
It is super cool.
What's happening right now?
What'd you think of the Rick and Morty episode?
I actually haven't watched it yet because I, as you know, Cartoon Network basically. You have to have a cable subscription to watch them right now, and I don't have a cable subscription, so I need to either
no doubt
find some back channel to watch it, flim flam it, a little bit.
Flim flam, 8 rapples. This was the one with Taika Waititi,
right? So there was an app creation. Morty makes an app or something like that.
So all Taika Waititi's character wants to do is make an app, and they're like, "Don't make an app with them." Like the whole thing, like, "Hey, you want to develop an app?" Like, no, it's good. It's not the funniest episode by a long stretch of Rick and Morty, but just the Waititi character cracks me up.
Even a bad Rick and Morty is better than 90% of what's on TV right now.
Correct. So. You know what I haven't watched at all yet is Silicon Valley. Is that any good this season?
Let me tell you about Silicon Valley. Let me tell you.
Okay.
Because I've been watching, because it's drawn right after Watchmen, so I just sit there and watch it. I have not seen a show go from funny to unfunny as quickly as Silicon Valley.
Oof.
And I'm going to tell you like this: there is a kind of a side story with Jared and a female programmer named Gwart.
Gwart,
Gwart.
Okay.
It is probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen on TV. Moreover, these characters were at one point like really likable in their own way.
Yeah.
I fucking hate everyone on the show now.
Oh man, I was hoping you were gonna sell me on it and I was gonna go back and watch, but now I am not watching.
I have not laughed or even smiled once.
Oh, that sucks.
It's like how much I get it. Like these guys are kind of bumbling and they're kind of like they don't really know how to handle these kinds of things.
Yeah, but how many seasons?
But like, how many seasons of that can you handle? Like, as soon as something goes right, 3 things are going to go wrong.
Yeah, every time.
And I get it that like that's like that's with the tech world, but like it's getting like maybe there's too many inside jokes,
right
here, but it's not good. It sucks. And Jin Yang, my favorite character, has been in it for all of 2 minutes.
No, he needs to be like the lead character now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you're not gonna have Eric Bachman, then you got to have
Eric.
him.
Yeah, that show just nosedived. Ugh. Like it was less funny without TJ Miller, and it is
now it's just even worse.
Now awful.
Well, Always Sunny in Philadelphia has been pretty good so far this season.
Yeah,
at least you get that for comedies.
Yeah, I do.
Ryan, are you gonna hashtag release the Snyder Cut?
No, and you know what? If you're one of those people, like take a hike. Absolutely take a hike. What possible resolution could you get from this?
It might be longer.
It's not going to be better. It's not going to save the DCEU. Like, why? Like, if it's not. All you're setting yourself up for is heartache there.
Well, you're basically telling Gal Gadot. You're telling Gal Gadot to take a hike because Gal Gadot said hashtag release the Snyder Cut.
Fine.
Yeah.
And I can tell her. I bet her next movie's going to stink too. When is that atrocity coming out anyway?
What, Wonder Woman 2?
Wonder Woman 1984 or whatever.
Yeah, 1984.
Whatever the hell it's called.
I'm sure it'll be a good picture.
Let me see the Justice League movie. Let's see this.
I tweeted out, Ryan, release the Snyder Cut, SNIDER, with a gif of Twisted Sister.
Yeah, I saw that. That was good.
Thought it was gonna go viral.
Didn't.
No, it didn't. It barely resonated with the audience.
So this movie was released in 2017. It was released 2 years ago, October 26th.
I remember it fondly.
I remember it being just fine.
Justice League?
It's fine.
It was definitely you went to the movies, you saw the movie, you went home, and you never thought of it again.
Never. I've seen it once. I've seen it one time, and I'm good there.
Probably see it the once myself.
I think
it was just.
And I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
I bet the Snyder Cut's worse.
Yeah, I mean,
that it's worse.
He's a weird guy to figure out because he's made some really good movies and then some really not good movies.
I'm going to tell you another hot take for me.
Oh boy,
300 hasn't aged very well.
No, 300's not great.
Then you had Sucker Punch, which was like, what the fuck was that?
They had some nice looking ladies though in that.
Yeah, but it was
same with Black Christmas. That didn't save it. I loved the Dawn of the Dead remake.
I did like that.
Loved it.
And I liked
Big L.
I liked Watchmen. I thought Watchmen did a pretty good job.
Yeah, Watchmen wasn't bad considering that's a lot to put into one movie.
Changed the ending.
Yeah.
Which now that ending of that movie makes no sense.
Nah.
To the movie.
No, you can trash that one.
If you've seen the movie, if you haven't read the book and you started reading, or you saw the movie but you hadn't read, you're probably like, what the hell is this with the squid? That's what happens at the end of the actual Watchmen.
Yeah, read the book.
Yeah, read the book.
Ryan, speaking of the DCEU, are you ready for Black Adam?
Nope.
Starring The Rock, which comes out December 22nd of 2021. Pardon the pun, but are you rock hard for this?
I have a
rock hard
two-word. I have a 2-word review for this movie, and it hasn't even come out yet. Shit sandwich.
No, that can't be real. Come on.
Can't be real, is
they
it?
can't print that, can they? Yeah, they're still making DC movies though.
Did you see the trailer for Bloodshot with Vin Diesel?
I did not.
Oh, that movie can suck all the farts too.
Bloodshot?
I think it's an indie comic. I think we're at the tipping point here, Richard.
Man,
I think we're starting to go downhill. We've seen what superhero movies could be and all that. Now Scorsese's coming out and bashing them.
Oh, he can pound sand too.
Everyone else is bashing stuff.
I was gonna say, and this is not a spoiler, so if you skipped ahead, but I'm gonna go back to the Mandalorian first, a second.
Just a smidge.
Obviously, there's not as much Star Wars stuff as there is superhero stuff, but there's still all of a sudden a lot of Star Wars stuff, and I had started to lose some interest in it.
Mm-hmm.
But then something like the Mandalorian comes out, and I am revigorated. I cannot wait for the Rise of Skywalker, even though I know it's got nothing to do with it. But I'm so excited for that movie next month now. And I can't wait for every single episode of The Mandalorian to come out. So whether it's Marvel or DC, there's so much of it, but there's still the capability of something like awesome to come out. You know, because think about the MCU. Like some of their very best movies are the most recent ones.
Yeah,
and so I think it could still happen.
Yeah, I'm excited for the whole Star Wars thing. What's going to happen here?
Yeah.
And again with the Disney Plus thing, like the Marvel stuff. Like I'm excited for the Hawkeye series.
Yeah,
I'm excited for
Falcon Winter
What
Soldier.
If.
Yeah.
So there's that Falcon Winter Soldier. I'm excited. There's that What If animated series, which there is rumors that Robert Downey Jr. is reprising his role as Tony Stark, but just the voice.
Yeah. Okay.
So that would be good.
I
don't know how I feel about like WandaVision.
Nah, I'm good on that.
I'm so pissed that like Moon Knight is on Disney Plus and it's not going to be R. It's not going to be rated R.
I know. It should be hard R, borderline X.
Yeah. But
like
again, like you said, there's room here to do good work.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. But as for the Snyder cut or like Black Adam or whatever, just leave me alone.
All right. We're gonna leave
me alone.
Fine.
Stop it.
I'm gonna have to bother you though, because it's time now for the Davies Video Game Minute, which all the kids are calling the DVGM. What do you have?
That sounds like some sort of act that would be illegal in the continental US.
Well, it's funny, every time on Fridays we have our guy Chris Scheim. He gives picks for the weekend on Dale and Keefe, and he always references the DVOA of a team. And it takes every fiber in my being not to ask him what the team's DVDA is.
With their DVDA. Who's doing DVDA these days?
I'm the only one that's actually
I'm the only one who actually
participating in DVDA.
Those not to be inside. That is a reference to the movie Orgasmo.
Yeah, fantastic.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone. One of the most underrated. That was supposed to be a musical, by the way. I don't know if you.
I would have seen that on Broadway.
It's supposed to be a musical. What is the DVOA?
God, it's some crazy. I don't even know.
Some degenerate gambler acronym that like only they know.
Something. It's got to be something like value over average. No, value over.
It doesn't matter.
Who the fuck cares?
Is Scheim a good gambler?
Yeah, he's fine.
He's fine. He wins some, lose some.
He's passionate about it, which I like.
The DVGM, the Davies Video Game Minute. So there's two things I want to talk about. The two games I said I got 3 games going right now. So I have Modern Warfare that I'm playing a ton of, which is a lot of fun. I just love arcade shooters. I don't really like Battlefield. I don't like when they go to like ultra realistic, but this is actually fun. Like this game is fun again. And I like all the different modes, and they have a story mode which is actually pretty fun to play. Kind of real dark. Real dark.
I don't like that
at times. And then I'm playing a game. This is the game I was referencing earlier. There's a game that came out called Disco Elysium.
Wow.
Which just kind of fell in my lap. Like I was doing my research that I was it's a crime noir RPG set in like the 70s.
Okay.
And it's a really, really cool kind of offbeat game. It's probably my front runner for like best RPG of the year. It's actually super, super cool, super fun. So check out Disco Elysium if you're into that game. It's just out for PC now.
Okay.
But there are going to be PlayStation and Xbox ports coming soon. So make sure you check that out. And obviously, since like going back to The Mandalorian and Star Wars lore, Fallen Order did come out. I did have about an hour and a half hands-on with it at my buddy Brian's house, and he's listening right now. So hello, Brian. Thank you for letting me play Fallen Order. And it's good.
Really?
It's good. I do have
I'm gonna have to get it.
It takes place. I'm trying to think.
Yes.
Right before I'm trying to, because he had already been playing it for like an hour, so I'm like trying to come in. It happens right after they reference the Clone Wars. I can't think of the time because I came in. I didn't do I was having too much fun playing it, but we were on Dathomir, which is the home of the Malls. Dark Maul. Yeah. So that's the planet I was playing through that a little bit.
That's cool.
The only issue I have with it is the controls are like a little clunky. Like, you know, those games where like you have the right stick that moves the camera. Like it's like it goes like slow, and then zoom, and then you like zoom past something, and it's like I can't really
that takes some getting used to.
It's not as smooth as I would like it to be, and the combat is a little clunkier than I wanted it to be. Like, not to tip a little bit, but like the combat system in like Arkham Knight, or like Arkham City, like I wanted it to be more fluid like that.
I gotcha.
Dante's Inferno was a sneaky good game.
I liked it. I played it, beat it, loved it.
Well, that didn't make the list, by the way.
It didn't. Spoiler. I enjoyed it, but it did not make our list.
But like that fluid combat system, it's a little clunkier than I would like, but the story is actually really good. So
okay.
Check out Fallen Order, man. They go David Video Game Minute. DVGM.
I like that very much. Ryan, no, I have another question for you. Could be simple, could be very difficult. Are you ready for the topic du jour?
Is it more Mandalorian?
Yes, it is. Today is the Mandalorian. The first 2 episodes of the Mandalorian. What do you guys think? Ryan, I'm glad you asked. Today, it is best video games of the decade.
Of the decade.
I'm going to do you one better. It's the best video games of the century.
Hey, get it? Because it was the first decade of the century.
It's the same goddamn.
So far,
it's the same goddamn list.
Same goddamn list. We should have made everything of the century.
We should have
done that. Yeah.
It should have been best of the century, and everyone's like, "Holy shit! How do they know?
Oh my god! How do they do that? Yeah.
What a task! It's like, it is. And here we are. We're the ones. We're up for it. So here's the deal. The game. This one's a lot easier than like TV shows, because some TV shows started in like 2008 and bled in, and we did not count those. This has to be a game that came out in 2010 to now, and it can't be like the remastered.
I was just about to say, we did not count remaster, and that's why, because we're going to get a lot of emails about this. I know we are, but that's why some of these games are not on the list. So
correct. So because that happened a lot, especially PlayStation 4 and Xbox One would sort of remaster these awesome games.
Right.
They do not count. This was a difficult list to put together.
Not for me.
Least. It was an easy list for Ryan to put together. We came up with it. So we have a top 10. I know we did top 20 TV. This is a top 10. We have a host of honorable mentions, which we will get to.
A long list of honorable mentions.
We'll get to those coming up.
Yeah.
But would you like to first start with the worst and or most disappointing game of the decade?
I would like to start with the game that I like the least of this decade. Would you like me to tell you what it is, Richard?
Yeah, because I have a feeling I know.
That game is Epic Games Fortnite.
Shime just turned this episode off.
That's fine, because you can go and kiss my grits. And let me tell you this. Okay. I wrote an article for the now defunct Mammoth Gamers about why I don't play Fortnite, so I don't want to rehash it. Pick of the pod, Mammoth Gamers. But to me, this is what pisses me off about like gaming culture as it stands today. And the people who love Fortnite, good for you. I'm glad that you enjoy it. And their whole thing is like, if you don't like it, don't play it. Fine. I don't play it. I don't enjoy it. I don't think that it's this battle royale thing. And like anytime something came out better than Fortnite, they just appropriated the whole thing. Yeah. So that game came out and it was an absolute piece of garbage. And PUBG and DayZ or H1Z1 or like all these mods came out. There were like these big battle royales. Like, well, let's just do that in our game. So then it became the biggest game in the world. And then Apex Legends comes out with this awesome like pinging targeting system. And then like Fortnite's like, well, that works, so let's take that for ourselves.
Yeah.
And then like even like skins they started bringing in from other games. Then there were these shameless tie-ins with like Marvel, and now with Star Wars, you can be stormtroopers now in Fortnite, and
I
it's
guess
just the whole thing.
They did a Batman one too that I
Yeah,
missed.
they made a Batman one.
Yeah,
and they are just printing money right now. That thing is just a money maker. It's a machine. It's just not a very good game. Is the thing, like in terms of like gaming and like what it's in my head, like what it's supposed to be about. Like it's just, and if you love it, great.
Good.
Leave me alone. I don't have to like it.
No, you don't.
And I don't.
You don't have to, Ryan. I'm not going to make you.
I will not.
Don't. Good.
And shut up about it.
Just shut your lips.
All right.
Ryan, the game I hated was Star Wars Battlefront. I was so excited for this game. And again, going back to our Star Wars love, I was so excited. I wanted to see what it was going to look like. I was looking forward to it. You could play as all these different characters.
Or could you? Or could you?
Yeah, maybe if you lucked into it.
And
it sucked. It sucked so bad.
Sucked.
And then I just bailed on it. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I've never wasted $60 more in the history of games than Star Wars Battlefront.
And to unlock the ultimate unlock in Star Wars Battlefront was obviously like Darth Vader. Like you could be Darth Vader. But they were like, oh, you're going to have to grind for like 20 hours of multiplayer to get Darth Vader, or you could pay $20 to have him now.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not doing that. You know me, I'm not doing
that.
And
you know you, but we'll get to that later. But like, and this is where that whole EA gets in trouble for like this whole like loot box and like paying to win and like all that stuff. Like this was like the worst case of that.
Yeah,
and it was awful. And it's EA just kind of like, and that's why everyone is so excited about Fallen Order, because then now like this is the best Star Wars game this decade.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I probably should get it now.
You should probably get this. Is a game you should probably play and enjoy.
Cool.
So definitely check that out. But what a disappointment. Those two Battlefront games were awful.
Anything else on crap games before we get into our top 10?
No, let's do it. Let's do the top 10. I'll let you kick this off.
All right, I'm going to start with number 10
because I want nothing to do with this.
Already controversy, which I love. These helps these lists. This game is awesome. This was on my list. It was nowhere near Ryan's list. It wasn't even on his honorable mentions, but it was high enough on my list. I think it was 5th or 6th on my list. So it comes in at number 10. That would be The Walking Dead, the Telltale Games series, which started in 2012. They have then had subsequent chapters to it. Originally, PS3, Xbox 360, eventually PS4, Xbox One, the Switch, Mac, Windows. You can play it for everything.
You can play it for everything.
If you're familiar with the Telltale games, Batman was a decent one. They've done
Borderlands. They did the Wolf Among Us, which is the best one of all of them.
Was it Guardians of the Galaxy? I think they did.
They did a Guardians, which is all right. Yeah.
The Walking Dead though was great, and if you don't believe me, check out a whole bunch of publications that in 2012 voted it Game of the Year, because this was super cool. Because of all these Telltale games where it is choose your own adventure, pick which way you want to go, it puts you in the zombie apocalypse, and you're a character, and you run into a scene, and it's, do I help this kid right now, even though I see zombies behind him, or do I run away and go over here? And then, like, what are the consequences of it?
A lot of tough decisions to be made.
It is. It's a lot of tough decisions, and it was fun. And I think of all the games, again, like I had fun with the Batman one. I actually didn't like the Borderlands one, but of all the games that I think are perfect for this type, it's a Walking Dead situation. And so I loved it. I didn't play every chapter, but I played the first few. Yeah, and one of my favorites.
I will concede that this is a very good game.
Thank you.
Mortal Kombat for Sega Genesis is a very good game, but Donkey Kong. No. However, the best game of the decade in the top 10,
the 10th best game of the decade.
I know, but like there were so many other games we could have put in here, and somehow the Walking Dead snuck in. I'm not thrilled about it.
I think you're just soured on the TV show being bad now. A lot of people are soured. But
let me ask you this, Richard.
The comic book and the video game are very, very good.
What is the next game that Telltale Games is coming out with? Do you know?
Telltale Games.
I'm going to stop you right there, Richard. It's a trick question because the company is out of business.
Ryan, it's not The Walking Dead's fault. It's probably that fucking Borderlands fault, which was a shit game. But I got that for free on the PSN, and I couldn't even finish it. And you know me, I'm a completionist.
You're a completionist. You are. That's right. But my point is that like these games,
so every company that goes out of business didn't make a good game.
What
So
I'm saying,
you're telling me
is
that,
like,
fuck, what was the name of that store that went out of business? You're telling me Circuit City wasn't a good store?
they didn't have good bargains at Circuit City.
I got many a DVD at Circuit City.
No, what I'm saying is that while this was kind of a hit, and they kind of like hit the mother load with this one, there's this whole choose your own adventure thing. Like, it gets old. Like, it gets old after a while.
No, it does.
Yeah.
Don't punish this game because they kept making.
But even this one, like, there were like 6 or 7 chapters, maybe.
Play the first few. The first few.
Yeah, but like you said, you're a completionist. You didn't even finish the goddamn game, and you're saying it's in your top 10. You didn't even get to the end.
Well, I had to keep paying for it, so
that's
what I paid for, I finished.
Okay.
We're moving on. Do I help this guy? I don't know if I fucking try. Next thing you know, he makes it out, and then he's giving me the stink eye. Now he's giving me the stink eye. The guy who didn't fucking save me. I'm like, I wasn't gonna fucking
He's down the street mad dogging you because he got out of it. Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm good for it. You can trust me. Here, have some of my rations.
Let's move on to number 9, Richard.
Yes.
Number 9, and a game, again, that is way too low on this list, and that is the original. Well, so technically it's the second in the series, but Red Dead Redemption, which came out, I believe, right at 2010, Rockstar Games.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably one of the best, most complete games I've ever played. This is one of the games on this list that I actually platinumed. I 100%ed this game. And it was just so fun. And it actually was, a friend of mine actually said that the newest Red Dead Redemption 2 he called it, it's not a video game, it's a cowboy simulator.
Yeah.
But there's
too much riding a horse. Like, that game it looked amazing. It's more fresh in my mind too, because I played that way more recently, clearly, than this Red Dead Redemption. But I do remember having more fun playing this one that's on our list at number 9 than the newer one, which may have looked better just because of the advancements, and you're playing it on PS4 rather than 360 or PS3. But it was just so much riding a horse, whereas the first one, it just seemed like, I don't know, it seemed like you were more in the action.
It was Grand Theft Auto Wild West. That's exactly what it was. And it was but way more robust, way more nuanced, and I thought that this was an almost perfect game when I played it.
Yeah.
And some of the greatest video game moments, if you like, just riding the horse and going into Mexico and that song plays, man, that was an awesome game.
I would just play cards for a while. I'm like,
I wind up winning
playing cards.
And you unlock an achievement, you win a certain amount of money, you get all the trophies for it. I remember sitting and playing that game and sitting down at a poker table. Mm-hmm. And I did that thing where I looked at the clock, and I had been playing for an hour and a half.
Yeah. What am I doing?
Jesus Christ! I gotta go.
Playing a game within a game. And
there was stuff like that. And
darts,
super fun. Yeah. Just
That's
one of the best games ever. Should be higher on the list.
Well, coming in number 9, number 8, Ryan, 2011, another game like Red Dead that was for the PS3 and the Xbox 360. I'll let you handle this. Skyrim,
a game I played for over 200 hours.
Oh my
Richard.
God.
200 hours I sunk into this. Speaking of games that you could just get lost in, I played through the main story 4 or 5 times. And just I think I had 5 or 6 characters, and all of them were different. I really wanted, and this was what I really liked about this game is this: when you play RPGs and you can level up and pick your skills, their version of the skill tree was probably one of the better ones I've ever seen. And you get to kill dragons,
which I prefer. You keep them alive because you don't know how many there are.
But you absorb their soul, and they make you stronger. So you get to, you don't kill all the dragons some of the
souls.
Dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is this the game that everybody was saying especially when this came out again, 2011, that there had never been a map this big? There had never been.
Yeah. So at the time, as far as the Elder Scrolls, it was the biggest map that they had made.
Yeah.
So much so that if you had to walk across the map, if you walked from corner to corner, it would take you an hour or something like that. It was enormous. And then there are some, but getting in, not to tip it again, but there are some bigger maps now.
Yes, sir.
That are daunting to say the least. But again, just a game you could get absolutely sucked into, and a way you can play a game that you don't ever play it the same way twice. Which I think the replayability of that, and obviously the content that came after the DLC that came after that was like equally as good and strong. Skyrim is just an all-timer, just an awesome game.
Okay, you got number 7, which is where it's at, because I'm just
you're not a guy.
No, yeah. I'm not a guy for this. And going all the way back to when we were a little kid on the original system, it's not for me. And I understand it's literally for everybody else, but that's why it's on the list, but it's not as high as most people would expect.
It was, and just before we take heat, it was number 2 on my list.
Yeah.
And that is Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. So now you want to talk about ridiculous maps. Like this map, I think it's 3 times the size of Skyrim.
Wow.
Wow. I haven't finished it. I just bought a Switch this past summer, and I've been playing off and on, and I don't think I've seen so I got a Switch in either end of July, early August. Yeah. I don't think I've seen the whole map.
Wow.
And it's
vast.
It is vast.
It's so vast.
It is dense.
Yeah.
It is. And what you either love or hate about this game is they don't give you really any instructions.
Yeah, see, I'm tough, and not to tip our hand on other games that aren't on the list.
Yeah.
But for me, not being a super advanced gamer, that
you need
kind of
linear.
Thing, that drives me nuts. That drives me, like, we'll get into some of the other games that I like. I like a story, and I'm okay with side missions. I'm okay with that. But I have a hard time. I lose my mind if it's just figure it out. Like, was it Bloodborne? Yeah. Like, I can't play Bloodborne. Like, Bloodborne is not going to work for me.
It's just not, and like it's those games like that are challenging, but they're not fun.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if I have to figure something out, okay, but like if I can't figure it out in a few minutes, I'm going to lose my mind.
Like, there were moments in Breath of the Wild when I first started playing, I would say like in the first 10 or so hours, where I didn't know if it was a side mission or a main quest. I'm just like, okay, like let's do this, and we'll see. Yeah. And I think it was this non-linear structure that threw a lot of people, but but more than that, I think that's what endeared people to this game a lot. And again, it's a Zelda game. It looks like a Zelda game. It's beautiful. It's an incredibly crafted game, but just it's hard. Like that's what you don't really expect from Nintendo. Really is like you see the animations and you see the way they design games, and they're kind of more colorful and less adult, but that doesn't mean they're not hard. And I think what impressed me the most about this game is I took it for granted because I'd played every Zelda game up until that point, and like you said, you need to go here, like you're here now, go here.
Yeah.
And
okay, how?
But you remember when you played the first Zelda and like you didn't really know where to go?
No, you just picked it up and
you just go. And they did that, but to like the extreme.
Yeah.
Now, but it builds like this community of people. Like you ask them, like, all right, where do I go? What do I do now? Like I wound up like asking people. Like, and I think that's part of, but you see that as a weakness, but I see it as part of the strength of the game. So I really did enjoy this game. And again, it was higher on my list.
How do you feel about it? Was definitely higher on Davey's list. How do you feel overall with like when we played games like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, those types of games, you would have to figure it out. Like if you were stuck on a level, you would figure it out, or maybe you would have a friend at school or on the bus, and you would ask them, and they would tell you. Whereas now, as frustrated as I get with a game like Bloodborne or whatever, I can go on my phone and go, how do you beat this level? And again, it's not Game Genie, it's not like a cheat code, but it's literally somebody telling you, oh, it's like the third brick you got to pull out. Like it's kind of bullshit, but like I know that the information's there, so rather than like spiking the game, I end up doing that. But that's cheating.
There are only a handful of games where I've been like fucking just stuck. Like one of them was The Witness, which is basically like this generation's Myst.
Oh yeah, okay.
With, it was the guy who did the game Braid. Remember that game Braid? It was on Indie Game the movie. The game Braid. This guy Jonathan Blow, which was another great game. But The Witness was just it was a huge this is island that was just like a huge puzzle, and that game was fucking super hard. At one point I had to like go on YouTube, be like, how do I do this?
Yeah,
like I just couldn't figure it out.
Right.
And I felt dumb after like, and it turned out that like I could have done it, I just missed something.
Oh, that's usually how it is, but it's just like
you're just trying to get through it fast, which is like you don't.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Just enjoy it. You know, when I was playing Earthworm Jim, I wasn't, on the internet trying to figure out how to beat Earthworm Jim. I just beat Earthworm Jim.
Or you had to know someone who beat it, like you said. They would help you.
Ask a buddy how you beat Mike Tyson. Then he'd tell you.
Yeah, I would have told you because I could do it.
I still can't. Fucking guy.
I probably couldn't do it now. I could get to Super Macho Man.
Oh, no problem.
Easy. No problem. Like
easy.
Right this second, I could do it.
You could get to Macho Man, and then you could probably beat Macho Man, but then Tyson, I don't even think I could land a hit on.
And then then you get Mr. Sandman to deal with, and he's pretty tough. And then
Sandman's all right. No, Sandman's okay. Sandman, it's Super Macho Man. He's got the Soda Popinski crazy
and the one
arms.
He just keeps going.
The whirling dervish. Yeah, you got to get out of there.
That's gonna get you. We're off topic.
Number 6.
We have.
Our list. I got it. I'll do the.
You do this one. You do this one. Yep.
Number 6. And maybe it's slight recency bias as to why it is number 6, but still a great game. 2018's Spider-Man for
another
PlayStation
game.
4, a PlayStation exclusive.
PlayStation exclusive.
This game was great, and this game, again, it's a lot like the Arkham series with Batman, but with Spider-Man. But the detail in this game is off the charts, and not just the villains that he's going up against, all the different suits. New York City, which is a cool difference rather than like Gotham, which is cool. And trust me, I love that. But New York City, some of the landmarks, some of the things that they swapped out, some of the things that are very Spider-Man specific, but then also tying in like some MCU stuff with like the Avengers Tower. You got like all these Easter eggs everywhere, which are just fun to go explore. The game can also be as hard or as easy as you want it to be. Like there was a nice like kind of like leveling system there that if you wanted to really challenge yourself, you could make every little mission much more difficult, or you could just breeze through the game, whatever you wanted to do. Really, really cool. Then there were some extra add-ons to the game as well, because this was another game that I just sat down. This was the only game I was playing for a month. 100%ed it, and then
there she is right behind you too. There she is.
I got it right here. The old PS4 here. Love it. Just in the gameplay, like the controls are like, I don't know how you would make it better. Like we actually, in fact, we did a whole episode on this game, which goes to show you how good the game is. We haven't done that for too many games in the history of this podcast. We did a whole episode about it. I don't even know if it's a complaint, because I think they could probably set themselves up for a sequel, but there's a few Spider-Man villains that they didn't use, but like that's literally the only complaint I can think of.
The only complaint you have is there's not more. Like that's the mark of anything great, is like if you watch your favorite movie, like I just wish it was longer. If if you ate, a piece of, ate a cupcake, I wish I had another, But this, like you said, the second you start this game, and I'll always remember that this was an important part of the whole experience. You start the game, you hit start, and Spider-Man is like on the wall, and it says hit this button, and immediately you hit the right trigger and you're swinging.
You're like out the door, right? Or
it's immediately intuitive, and it makes sense, and it's fluid, and you actually feel like Spider-Man. Yeah, like right, and that's as close as we're gonna get to it. But and it sounds silly, but like you feel it right away, and like the vibration of like the web, like as you don't really, but as you're feeling it, like it tightens up, like those little details, like you said, that made a whole lot of difference. And they told a completely unique Spider-Man story that was self-contained.
Yeah, like that alone would have been a great movie, or more like a Netflix series kind of thing.
Yeah,
like, it was so good, and it was another one of those games where, all right, here is your main story, but maybe you don't feel like doing that right now, and you can just swing around the city, and there's like a plenty of other stuff for you to do.
And how fun was that? How fun was that? Just swinging around, finding stuff,
and like the selfie mode, fantastic. You're just going around taking pictures in front of all these different landmarks, and a lot of the landmarks they kind of tweaked to kind of put Marvel characters and Easter eggs into New York, and it was just sweet. Like that's as fun of a game as there's been in a long time.
The most fun you can have with your clothes on, Richard.
Yeah. Spider-Man
and
PS4.
One of the best load screens I've ever seen. When you take the subway,
yeah,
and it's just Spider-Man chilling on the subway, and like everyone just acting like that's normal.
Yep.
Like I thought, just what an awesome little nod to everything, and probably one of my favorite Stan Lee cameos in any cameo he's ever done.
Good Stan Lee cameo.
Yep, I won't tell you when it happens, but if you haven't played it yet, definitely pick that up.
I like the Nelson and Murdoch attorney sign. Like they have like the building for Daredevil and Foggy. I'm like,
and there's the Avengers Tower. There's like, but you have to go and find those places. Like you could find
there's like Rand. There's like Rand Industries or whatever, not Industries, whatever. Iron Fist's company is. They got that
Rand
one.
Industries. There's
Alias from
Alias
Jessica
Investigations. That's in there. Like just those little tiny things, man. Like that means, and they took out the bull, the Wall Street Bull, and put in Lockjaw.
Yeah.
By the way, I watched that episode of the Inhumans on Disney Plus.
Oh shit!
Holy Christ!
I saw that. I was funny. I was scrolling through Disney Plus the other day, and I saw that was available on there.
Watch it! Like, it's so bad.
All right.
Yeah, so bad. All right. So we are moving from one PlayStation exclusive to another. And this one, to me, would have just edged it out in how much I enjoyed it. And that is God of War, coming in at number 5, 2018, PlayStation exclusive. God of War, as you know, has always been a PlayStation exclusive. But my favorite story-driven single-player game. No, I take that back. Of this, well, definitely, I take that back. It's not. Okay. What I would say top 3. Of one of my favorite games ever. I love mythology, all kinds of mythology.
You're a classicist?
Yes, but I do love Roman and Greek mythology. But right now, like I've read Neil Gaiman's book on Norse mythology. If you haven't read that yet, if you guys are readers here and you haven't read Neil Gaiman's book on Norse mythology, read it. A lot of these stories that they reference in God of War, this God of War are in the book.
Cool.
What I really loved about this is God of War was actually awesome because it started out, Kratos is from Sparta and he's fighting again, literally fighting and killing all of the gods of ancient Greece. And you knew that this game was coming out. They were going to do another God of War. And then they did the release where you found out that he was actually in now the Norse mythology world. And you're like, how is that going to work? Like, how does that... And this game was and dare I say it, and forgive me for using the strong language because I know this is a family show.
Yeah, try to.
Just a fucking masterpiece of a game. The story of this game, if it were a movie, it would be one of my favorite movies.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And it was just the way that they wove this story in, and all the way from the beginning of the game to the end. And you don't appreciate it until you don't appreciate the beginning of the story until you get to the end of the story. And then there's a cutscene at the end that goes 6 to midnight real fast.
Right. Is that right?
Oh boy. Right.
Okay.
I want you to, you're not going to play this game, are you? Are you going to play this game?
I'm not.
Google the end credit scene.
Okay.
Of God of War, and I want you to text me what you think of it as soon as we're done with this.
Okay. Fine. I can do that.
So, in one of my favorite characters of Norse mythology is Balder, and he plays a role in this, the predominant role in this game. And you just gotta play it.
Was this better than Dante's Inferno?
Yes, very much so.
Right.
Very much so. As you know, I did read Dante several times. Very good. But I also played that game and thought that was an interesting take on it. It was like Spawn meets.
Where did this rank on your list again? This was
like 3.
Okay. All right. I thought so.
Yeah.
All right. Coming in at number 4, Overwatch.
Probably the game this year that we played the most together.
Definitely the game we've played the most together. It came out in 2016. We still play it off and on, which is pretty telling.
4 years later, man, we're still playing it.
PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC. This to me is I guess I gotta. Yeah, I'm not gonna hedge it. It is the greatest multiplayer game I've ever played.
And just like you said, it's so tiered.
Yeah,
and it's so replayable.
it's so replayable. The like the different characters, because like I'm trying to think of multiplayer games, and you can include sports games if you want, and that's fine. And then, but you think of other games like Gears of War or Call of Duty or all those ones, and you're basically all the same guys, and yeah, you got different weapons, but everybody can have the same weapon type of thing.
Yep.
Whereas Overwatch, all different characters, they all have different skill sets. It's all about teamwork and the grouping of characters. Now, certain characters are better at defeating other characters, and you can switch in games. So there's a lot of strategy. They also did so much kind of research into the game as to how can they make it the most fun.
Yes.
And they try to determine what was the right number to have on a team, where if you had somebody that was either really good, would they completely dominate it? Or if they had somebody that was really bad, would they ruin it? And they sort of came up with 6. Like you can sort of make up for one guy who's horrible on your team, but you could also, if only one guy is really good on the other team, it's not enough most often, right? And then also you get into it and you get levels, and you're sort of grouped with people that are supposed to be as good as you are. But also, like, you don't need to search for ammo. Like, your characters always have all ammo. So, like, because they're like, it's not fun to go look for ammo. So you're like, you're out there the whole time. You end up getting good with certain characters. There's different maps. And what's incredible about Overwatch is since 2016, they have been giving owners of the game new characters for free, new maps for free, new skins for free, new everything for free. And they just recently announced that next year they're going to come out with Overwatch 2, which I feel like all of us owe it to them just to buy it, because we've got so much time and enjoyment
how much fun we've had. And like you said, for someone who's grown up my whole life playing team sports, and this is the closest when you talk about like esports, like games like this, in games like there's other games that like this is as close as you get to playing a team sport where like you have to have a role, like you have to do something well in order for your team to succeed.
Right. Pick
like
something.
I think of like being on a football team. Like you can't have a successful football team without good linemen. You obviously everyone needs a quarterback, but not everyone can be the quarterback. Like someone's gonna have to be the lineman. Someone's gonna have to block. Like someone's gonna have to be a wide receiver. Someone's
and as we learned in our high school team, you can have the best skill position players in the world, but if your line's terrible, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because you only have one fullback, and now he has permanent nerve damage in his neck, 13 separated shoulders, and a fractured shoulder blade.
Yeah.
So there that is.
Do you got to get surgery on your foot?
I do not.
Oh,
I am currently in physical therapy. So that is good. See, look, good. I get that. Yeah, I was going to kick my foot up on the desk, but that would have been a whole. I can trust you. I'm wearing shoes. I'm good.
Good.
I can't do anything. I'm not medically cleared to skate yet. It is hockey season, so I'm coaching hockey. Can't skate yet, which is frustrating. But
the other thing with Overwatch, quickly, Ryan, is they would also add sort of seasonal stuff, not just seasonal skins, but they would do seasonal kind of like side games. So they would kind of keep it where if you didn't want to do the 6-on-6, which is really that's the game.
That's the game. Yeah.
But they would sort of throw some other stuff your way too. Now, one thing that may take away for some people is I always go back to Gears of War because I loved that for the 360, and it had a really fun story mode, and then it had great multiplayer online.
Yep.
There's no story mode for Overwatch. Overwatch 1, there isn't.
Yeah, there will be for Overwatch 2.
But I mean, I still think you could have made an argument that this was the best game of the decade, but it comes in at number 4 here in Ireland.
It's up there. I mean, it's a game that definitely like I soured on it a little bit just because.
Yeah, but think about how much we played it though. Like,
but the thing that got me was like I never got better. You know what I mean?
I also kind of capped out. Like I kind of. I'll tell you what hooked me though. This was a game I played the beta for. And I remember there's like a free download. It was one weekend, and I just jumped into a game. I randomly chose Hanzo, which I never use anymore. Hanjo, because I wanted to be the bone arrow guy.
Yep.
And just trying to figure out the controls. I ended up having like the play of the match or whatever. And so they show the highlight. They show your gamer tag. They show the highlight of it. and I never had like a play of the match ever again with Hanzo, but I did in the first game I ever played, and I was like immediately hooked. I'm like, this game's fucking awesome.
Yep.
And
I remember I jumped on the first time we played together. I was McCree. I played as McCree.
Yep.
And I was like, because I wanted, like you, I wanted the gunslinger, baby.
Yeah, it's fun.
I love a good gunslinger. So.
The characters are so good, and this is another game we actually did a standalone episode on. You can check the archives. It's something we did one for Overwatch, and I remember asking you, I'm like, this is the first ever version of this game, right? Because there's like already people cosplaying as all of the characters. There was already like a culture of Overwatch fans like the day it came out.
Yeah.
It was bizarre. And now it has actually spun into like comic books and all kinds of shit. Like Overwatch has really taken on a life of its own.
And it should. I mean, this has brought hats off to Blizzard. I know they've taken a lot of heat recently, but for political reasons. But I think this. I mean, they're responsible for like Warcraft. I mean, these guys are monsters. You know, so yeah, absolutely. Right. Fucking A.
Number three.
This game. I'm just kidding. So Grand Theft Auto 5. Rockstar Games Grand Theft Auto 5.
Did you black out?
No, I did because I was like, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm to this day.
I love this game.
Speaking of games that kind of keep giving.
This game is incredible.
It's so overwhelming, but yet so fun. Like, I don't think I'll ever finish this game. The story mode, you play as 3 different characters, which was great.
That was a nice new wrinkle.
That was a nice wrinkle, and each of them do different things. Playing as Trevor, I mean, the story in this game is awesome. The story in all the Grand Theft, except for the Grand Theft Auto 1, but the story of all the Grand Theft Auto games are incredible. But this is just so dense and just so much fun to play this game.
It was like, to me, and I know a lot of people like Vice City or they like San Andreas more, but it's almost like you combine the two and put them into one game. It's kind of like what this was.
Yeah, and
just because there's so much to do, and you could switch from character to character to character, and just this is a great example of a game where even if you're not playing the main story, like you could sit down, play 2 hours, and not do a single main story mission. You
know what I did, Richard? I would drive down their version of the PCH, the Pacific Coast Highway,
and kill hookers,
and I would just listen to the radio.
Oh yeah,
I would just listen to.
Like, what am I doing?
What was my favorite radio station? It was the one hosted by Kenny Loggins, obviously, because I'm a big yacht.
Oh yeah. I like they had the rock one. What was it? Was it just K Rock or no? They had some rock one that I liked. And then they had a couple hip hop ones.
It was because it was all like West Coast rap. It was like they're just listen to the radio and just drive around. I would like find a car,
and then sweet car.
Yeah, and then I would just head out into the desert. I mean, it's just this game. Like you could just get lost. Like you didn't even have to play the game.
I would bang prostitutes mainly
a lot, and then you started playing Red Dead 2. Then you started killing a lot of prostitutes, and then that got iffy.
Yeah,
I don't know if you watched this on the stream. Rich was a little stabby with the knives. He liked the knives.
I would do that too, though. In Grand Theft Auto, it was like every once in a while, like right before you were like about to be done playing, like you just done a couple of missions, and you're like, I'm just gonna kill as many people as possible until the cops come, and then I'm gonna kill as many cops as I can until the helicopters come and the tanks, and then they blow me to smithereens.
Yeah, but like, what other game could you be like? What do you want to do today? Like, I don't know. Like, I kind of want to go jet skiing. Like, you can do that. Yeah. Well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do today? I don't know. I kind of want to like fly a plane, like over like the Hollywood sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fly a plane. Go ahead. Take a plane.
You want to? What do you want to do? I just want to go to the Venice Boardwalk and just shoot a bunch of people. Like,
yep.
That's weird.
It's a weird, odd choice of yours, but
okay.
That was great. It wasn't Grand Theft Auto 5, but it was one of the Grand Theft Autos. Remember in the Vince Vaughn movie, The Breakup with Jennifer Aniston? And she's like nagging at him about something.
That was San Andreas.
It was definitely San Andreas. And he's like, if you don't mind, I gotta hit the streets here for a little minute.
Just gotta hit the streets. And sometimes you did. Sometimes you had to blow it out. Sometimes I just had to listen to a Kenny Loggins song, I'm Free.
Yeah.
Right?
I would always say that every time I would play, both for this one and for Spider-Man, when I'd be at home with my wife, and I'd be like,
I remember
I gotta go hit the streets.
I gotta clean it up.
I gotta go hit the streets. She's like,
Yeah.
okay, great. You're playing Spider-Man. I don't care.
But again, you could buy a house. You want to buy a house today? Let's
buy
a house. You want to buy a house? You want to buy just a garage?
Yeah.
To put your cars in? Here you go. And the other thing too, there's like I had like my favorite car. If I booted that game up right now, the very one car that I have in my garage in my apartment building, not in my high rise, but in my actual house, is my favorite car in the game. I love it. I will never get rid of it. It's I forget what it is. It's a muscle car.
Oh.
But it's like,
did you take it to the old paint and spray or whatever? Did you get it? Did you get a nice?
I did. So it's
nice details.
So it is not the Buccaneer. Let me see. GTA 5 muscle cars. I'm going to look through this. You keep going.
They had some good ones, but yeah, there was so much shit that you could do. I mean, I can't wait for the next Grand Theft Auto game. Like that's going to be. There's a couple games that I know that are coming out that I'm going to get. I'm probably going to end up getting the Star Wars game, but these are the kind of games that I like the most. And because I know as soon as I get it, it'll be a good month. Well, maybe now with my schedule now that I have a kid, maybe 2 months of gameplay, and I just get so ensconced into these games.
So I found it. I drive a D-Class Sabre Turbo.
There you go.
Which to me, and this is my Grand Theft Auto story, and I will tell the story, and there are people who can vouch for it. So the other thing we didn't talk about, the heists, how fun the fucking heists were in this game.
Love a good heist.
So I'm in the middle of a heist, and I'm in the LA River, like the tunnel system?
Yeah.
And I'm driving with this kid, and I'm going down. There's like 4 people, like 4 cops behind us, right? And he's like, I can't get rid of these cops. I go, aim out the windshield. He's like, what? I go, just aim out the windshield. You'll know it when you see it. Now, my Vigoro, my Sabre is a rear-wheel drive car. So what I do, Richard, I slam the e-brake, do a J-turn, seamlessly start driving in reverse. So he's shooting out the windshield, facing the police officers as we're driving. Right. Hits him with the handheld grenade launcher. I J-turn out of that, go forward, we get away. The greatest thing I've ever done in a video game, and a move that I practiced for that very moment, and it actually worked.
You're like fucking Jason Statham in The Transporter.
That's all I wanted to be. For the longest time, I said I was the greatest getaway driver in all of Grand Theft Auto. And to this day, if you give me an hour, I can get my chops back again.
Yeah, no, I believe it.
Yeah, I love driving in that game.
I would just get out and start stabbing people.
Well, yeah, but then you're gonna get shot in your face.
Yeah, I'll get blown up pretty quick, I think.
Yeah. So there's Grand Theft Auto 5 in a nutshell.
But I could probably sweet talk a hooker into getting in the car.
It doesn't really take much. All you have to do is stop.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just
you
stop
honk
in front
sometimes.
of them. Oh, you do? Yeah, you had to honk. I remember you had to honk. Yeah. So anyway, all right, on to number 2.
All right, number 2 on the
list. I say you could make an argument. Ready?
Yeah, what's the argument?
The greatest superhero video game ever made.
This was number 1 on my list, but it's number 2 on our.
I think it was 4 or 5 on my list.
Yeah. That would be Batman Arkham City.
Arkham City.
Came out in 2011. Seems like forever ago. 2011 for the PS3 and the Xbox 360. There are a lot of Arkham games. To me, they are all, at worst, a B+. I like them all that much. Even Origin. Yeah. I could sit and play Origin.
Origin was all right, but I'll
play it. Asylum, City, Origins,
Night.
And Arkham Knight, which is the most recent one. I also liked a lot. Didn't love all the Batmobile stuff. That was kind of whatever. Arkham City is the best of all of them because
it's by far.
Right, because like you take Asylum, but now you're out of it, and now you have the whole city. And at that point, this is 2 years before Grand Theft Auto 5. It is 7 years before Spider-Man. It is 1 year after Red Dead Redemption, but just talking about the whole city, and you have so much to do. And what all these games do perfectly is everything in the Batman lore is on the table. Everything, every villain you run into, as minor or as major as it can be, all of like the Bat family is there. They have Gotham City looking absolutely sweet. The fighting is really good. The graphics are off the charts. The Easter eggs again are good. The main story combined with the side story stuff. I love it. Like, and this is one of those ones too. Not a lot of games that came out this long ago that you can just go back and play, but this is one of them. You know what I mean? Like, like Nintendo and Sega and those games you can go back and play. But then there's like that weird middle ground where you're like, once I'm done with that, like a PS2 game, once I'm done with it, I'm done with it.
Like
but
there's a lot of those games for me. Unfortunately, they're like, all right, I'm done. Like,
that's it.
Okay, that was cool.
But not this one.
But then there's the games that kind of like stay with you. And like you said, what got me was, first of all, we haven't brought this up in any other game, but I feel like in this game, it's important to mention the fucking voice acting in this game is 100%. Incredible.
100%.
You have Kevin Conroy doing Batman, Mark Hamill doing the Joker, Tara Strong doing Harley Quinn. Like, you have all the people who do the voices in the animated series or have been doing these characters for so long, and it shows. Like, they know the characters.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, like, it's like you said, the Batman lore stuff is what it is, but they weave in like incredible voice acting, an awesome story with Hugo Strange basically like turning that part of Arkham into like a huge asylum.
Yep.
I can't remember. It would be easier for me to tell you who's not in the game.
I know.
Who's not mentioned or referenced, or like for instance, like Calendar Man like isn't in the game, but there's like, you see his cell and like you take a picture of it and it unlocks like a statue and like all this stuff. Like, everybody's in there.
Oh, I love it.
Even if they're just referenced. Like, holy shit. Like, there's like some, I'm trying to think, like, there's is that the one with Raziel? There's like the Raziel, like, side quests. He like leave stuff for you. Is that in Night? I think
no,
that's
Azrael is in.
I'm getting another game.
That's
Raziel is Soul Reaver. Remember I used to play that game?
Oh yeah.
That's Azrael, not Raziel. Sorry.
Got it. No, but this one is like you name it and they're in there. Like Riddler and Victor Zsasz and Bane and Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. Obviously Oracle and Alfred are in there, but Hugo Strange, Two-Face, Penguin, Talia al Ghul, Mr. Freeze, Calendar Man, Solomon Grundy, Clayface, Ra's al Ghul, Mad Hatter, Deadshot, Azrael is in it.
Yeah.
Hush, Black Mask, Killer Croc.
They're all there. And they're
come on.
And how fun, like, and not only, again, one of the best fighting systems, like how good did it feel to like literally wipe out like 30 people at once?
And he never killed anybody.
Using gadgets and never killed anyone. A lot of broken bones.
He knew enough how to sort of stun them.
Well, yeah.
And take them out.
I'm thinking back, one of the missions that stood out too. First of all the Riddler trophies some of them were ridiculously hard.
I didn't want to mention this, but that was one of the ones I was talking about before where I'm like, I don't know how to get that. This is pissing me off. I'm going to look it up.
I did it myself.
Yeah.
And I was happy. You could have just texted me. I would have told you.
Same thing.
The missions with Deadshot, when you had to recreate the crime scenes, like that, even not even fighting, that was one of the most fun things to do.
Yeah, that was sick.
And just a cool like little side thing. But like that's what I mean. Like, this game's awesome.
Gabe is absolutely incredible.
Yep. So that leaves us, Richard.
Yes, Ryan. I think. Are we doing honorable mentions?
Oh, let's do honorable mentions.
Let's do honorable mentions.
Yeah. So let me rip through a list of games that I'm going to say their name. So I'm just going to say a little quick blurb about them.
Yeah.
And just so we don't get the angry emails. First and foremost, I need to mention League of Legends. League of Legends is the biggest game in the world. It's an incredible game. It's incredibly complex. I dare say the reason I don't play League of Legends as much as I should is, I can say this, Richard, with behind me, a series, a wall of degrees. I'm not smart enough to play this game. The learning curve for this game is so steep that like the reason it's not on it did make my list of top 15.
Yeah.
But I play it casually, but it's so hard. And it's but again, a game, this MOBA, this idea, this game, it's basically the closest thing you can get to like team chess.
Yikes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's think of like Overwatch, but like incredibly more complex. And like it's super, super hard. So that's League of Legends. It is a fantastic game and one of the most important games of the decade for me. Two, a personal Super Meat Boy. I love this game. One of the best indie games that's come out this past decade. I love it. Portal 2. So Portal, when it came out, that came out before 2010, was just a throwaway game that they made to put in the orange box, which was Half-Life 2, Team Fortress, and then they just threw in Portal. And Portal wound up being the better of all three of those games. They made a sequel to it. Portal 2 is super fun, super creative, and just a really cool story. Moving on. The Witcher 3. This one, probably, if we were to kick out Walking Dead, I might put The Witcher in here.
Okay.
The Witcher is a great RPG game, much like Skyrim. I like Skyrim better than I like The Witcher, so maybe that's the reason why it didn't make the list. I think in terms of like fantasy RPGs, I think Skyrim's a better game. The Witcher has its hardcore fans. I can't wait to see the series on Netflix.
Yeah, it looks
By
cool.
the way, already renewed for season 2. An episode hasn't even aired yet. So that's a good sign. Metal Gear Solid 5. All you Kojima people out there, Death Stranding, I'm not a fan of it, but Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, is a really good game. It's a really good stealth action game. And again, this big sandbox game that I really did enjoy that. Diablo 3, one of my favorite games, my favorite top-down, like kind of like roguelike cavern sprawling thing. You feel free to jump in here, Rich. I don't want to do all the talking, but I'm just trying to do this quickly.
Yeah.
The next, I love Diablo. I can't wait for Diablo 4. I'm so excited for it. I'm going to play that game for hundreds and hundreds of hours because I love those games.
Mm-hmm.
Next game on the list is a game the one game on here that I actually didn't finish. And you know what it is. Fucking Cuphead. I love this game.
Cuphead's a bitch.
I love the design of the game, but God, we read somewhere that like 18% of the people who ever start Cuphead finish it.
Cuphead just looks amazing. I've never even played it, and I put it on my top 15 just from watching you play it.
It plays amazing.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. It's a really cool design game, but God damn it, it's probably one of the hardest games I've ever played.
It looks insanely hard.
And I've beat Battletoads.
No, you have not.
I have not beaten Battletoads.
Nobody's beaten Battletoads.
Nobody's beaten Battletoads on their own.
Some of the games that I liked, Ryan, real quick, would be that weren't worthy of top 10, but like Arkham Knight was sort of the updated version of the Batman Arkham series. So that one was good.
And it had Red Hood, so you had to put that in.
And I had to like that one. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Red Hood, Injustice 2, it's a good fighting game, but none of the fighting games like Tekken 7, Injustice 2, Mortal Kombat 10, none of them really deserve to be on here. I want to throw now this is not a game for me per se, but people do love Minecraft. And South Park did a whole episode on it. Rick and Morty did a joke about it. So I'm going to at least throw Minecraft out there just because I know people like it.
But the reason I didn't make it on my list is because there's a discrepancy as to when this game actually came out. So there's a lot of it that say 2010. Some places I read it said 2008.
Oh.
So the reason it didn't make my list is because there was a little bit of a discrepancy, and I wasn't sure because if it came out in 2008 or 2010.
Okay, I saw 10, so that's why I included it in the honorables. But yeah, all right. Then
I had that Rick and Morty moment. Where someone was talking to me about Minecraft. You don't play Minecraft? I'm like, what is Minecraft? And they're like, it's basically Legos, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically, you just build stuff and acquire
according to Wikipedia, it was came out in 2011. So, I'm gonna count it.
Look at that. We'll count it. All right, that it belongs there. What
else?
I am going to mention anything from Software or Japan Studio. So, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, again, beautiful games, very well made games, not fun. These games are not fun.
Yeah, they're not for me.
They're fucking hard and they're unforgiving. And to me, I just have a philosophical difference. I played these games. I beat Bloodborne. I did not beat Dark Souls or Dark Souls 2 because Jesus, are those games hard. Just not enough fun factor there for me.
Need some fun. What was the best Assassin's Creed of the decade?
Black Flag.
Okay.
I loved Black Flag. How cool. Like I would just, again, like it had like that Grand Theft Auto thing where like I would just get on my boat and just
have a time.
And the guys just start singing and you're just like, all right, let's have a time out here. Let's hunt some whales.
Let's get out there. Well, I'm not a whaler.
Well, you look, it was a different time back then, Richard, and
I know,
people needed that. Like they used every part of the whale.
I'm actually a real
Hopefully.
proponent of shave the whales.
Shave the whales. Yes.
Shave the whales.
Yep. Red Dead 2. Again, we mentioned that. That game has to get mentioned here.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
Super impressive game. And we loved our husses. We loved to ride both Bojack and the Pork Chop Express. We love those guys, and hopefully we'll see them soon. And then I need to mention the kind of like the entire Uncharted series. I'm not familiar on the dates, but again, PlayStation exclusive. They're making a movie out of it. Hopefully, it's the first good Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg attached to the Uncharted movie. It's a shame, but
it won't be, Ryan.
So those are the games that we kind of needed to mention before we get to our number one. So, Richard,
what do you have?
PlayStation exclusive.
Woof.
2013, and then a 2016 remake.
Yeah, they put it on the PS4, which is actually where the first time I played it. But
is The Last of Us.
Boy,
I think I had this at 2 or 3. I don't remember my exact list. Actually, I can figure it out.
I can.
And you had it. You had it where?
Let me pull up my.
I had The Last of Us at 2. I had God of War at 1.
I had The Last of Us at 4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you had God of War 1.
I had God of War at 1. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So you had it 2. I had it 4.
Mm-hmm.
I went real quick. I went Arkham City, Grand Theft Auto 5, Overwatch, The Last of Us, Spider-Man was my top 5.
Nice. So my top 5, because the people are asking, the people are going to want to know.
Yep. Yeah,
let me see right here. My top 5 from 5 down. At number 5, Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Number 4, Skyrim. Number 3, Red Dead Redemption. Number 2, The Last of Us. Number 1, God of War.
There you go.
There it is.
There's your list. But The Last of Us, you mentioned Uncharted being turned into a movie, and The Last of Us is one of those games, as you're playing it through, you're like, this alone would be an incredible movie.
And somebody asked me to describe The Last of Us to them. I said, it's the best zombie movie I've ever seen. I say zombie in quotations, but it's the best zombie movie I've ever seen that I could play. Like, if it was just the cutscenes, it's the best. It's my favorite zombie movie, but I could actually play it.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. And then when you do the old switcheroo, and now you're using Ellie, like, it was just, it was such a good game that you got so invested into the characters. And it was also one that, because I went from PS2 to 360 to PS4, I missed it on the PS3. And then when I bought it, it was the game that came for free. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll play it. And then, like, as it was sitting there, I'm like, this is incredible. I'm like,
yeah,
what an introduction into PS4.
And again, so we have, I just mentioned Uncharted, but Naughty Dog, the studio that makes this, what an incredible studio this is. They make both Uncharted and The Last of Us, like, incredible studio.
Nothing to sneeze at.
And I can't wait for 2. I cannot wait for 2 to come out. It looks
and that just
so
got pushed
good.
back again, didn't it?
Which is fine. I would, and this is one of those things, like, you wish, get it right. Like, if you I don't care if you delay it 3 months. I want it right.
May 29th.
Fine with me. That's right at the end of school. I will spend my entire summer playing that game.
That's a good point.
That's perfectly fine with me. And that's actually, if it came out, I think it was supposed to come out in like March.
Yeah, like February, I think.
Yeah, that would have been a problem for me.
Yeah,
so
that would have been tough.
So I'm glad it's coming out right in the beginning of the summer.
Can't wait.
Cannot wait.
So that's definitely a game I'm getting. But I guess, maybe I could play Star Wars from now until then.
So I had this, so I said God of War was my favorite story, which was also a game. Yeah. This is a close second. And it's like God of War. When I finished the game, I was mad. Like, I was mad that I was done.
Where's the rest of it? I want to keep playing.
I want to keep going.
Yeah,
I want to keep going. So, and now I'm going to get to keep going. I'm going to get the story is going to be great. Ryan. And I can't wait.
Sure are.
Again, I think it's, who is it? Nolan North and Ashley Johnson, who plays Ellie, does an unbelievable job.
Yeah, she's good.
So just great characters, great story. How good did Boston look in this game?
Oh, it was cool. Yeah, it was.
That was awesome. Just a really, really cool game. And something that's like, if you can make it through the first 10 minutes without feeling a little something,
Yeah, good
Like
luck.
if you can do, you're a cold bitch.
You're a cold asshole, and I hate
But
you.
and it continues. And a game that kind of it stays with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like that game's been with me, and I know that sounds like incredibly poetic and stupid, but like a
I
game
think it
that's like
sounds
been
beautiful.
on my mind,
Yeah, sure.
since I finished it. So
Nothing wrong with that, Ryan.
you know,
Nothing.
you're a father of you're a father of a daughter now. You understand what I'm
Father
saying?
of a daughter. I basically The Last of Us is my life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would hope not.
Oh, hopefully it doesn't turn
No,
into
you
that at
feel
all.
deeply. No, you feel
Yes,
deeply.
I do. I have
It's
feelings.
deep. It affects you. It's deeply affecting that game.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Sure
it
enough,
is.
sure is.
As are all of our games, Ryan. On the top 10, once again, counting down from 10 to 1, The Walking Dead, Red Dead Redemption at number 9, number 8, Skyrim, number 7, Zelda Breath of the Wild, number 6, Spider-Man, number 5, God of War, number 4, Overwatch, number 3, Grand Theft Auto 5, number 2, Batman Arkham City, and the number 1 game of the decade, of the century, The Last of
It
Us.
wouldn't be the century because technically it's 20 years. We'd have to go to like the aughts to do that, but I was thinking about that.
Wait. Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, we're not good at math, but
Nope.
we figured it out. Like it wouldn't be the century. We could still do the century. We could, but
we could. Shit, I was feeling. I
And-
don't know why I thought it was the same.
and as we're cleaning this up, I would also like to say that I realized that like somewhere along the line, I think I said that I put like Zelda like 3, but it was actually 5. Sorry, I wasn't looking at my list when I did.
Listen, the math is fuzzy. I thought the century started in 2010. Apparently,
It did not. It started in the year 2000. So.
Well, it's a good thing that we didn't label the episode "Best Video Games of the Century."
And I said, "Oh, what a good idea! We should have done that." No, I just breezed past it. We should definitely not.
It was a horrible idea.
Terrible idea.
It was the worst idea we've ever had.
Yeah,
Ryan, you ready for the pick of the podcast?
Yeah, man.
Would you like to kick, receive, defer, or defend a goal?
I will defer to you this time. I think I received last time, so this
All
time
right, I'll receive. I was doing what you were doing and scrolling through the old Disney Plus. And guess what's on Disney Plus? And I'll give you a hint. It is in the running for my favorite movie of all time, and it is without question the movie I've seen the most in my life.
The Apple Dumpling Gang rides again.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Come on, is it really?
It's on Disney Plus.
Did they edit out the part where you get the Jessica Rabbit upskirt? Did you?
I haven't paused that 100 times yet, but
blow your mind, good.
Yeah, it sure is. So that movie's fantastic, and go watch that movie. You've already seen it, I understand, but watch it again. It's that good. The rewatchability, I don't think, has ever been matched in the history of cinema.
The rewatchability has never been matched.
Nope, there's not a movie you can watch more often than that. So,
and that ooh la la, that Jessica Rabbit. You know, the girls like the funny guys.
Yes, they do.
That's what you learn there.
Roger would make her laugh because Roger.
And how good of an actor is Bob Hoskins, or was Bob Hoskins?
Pick of the pod.
Yeah,
pick of the pod. Bob Hoskins.
He was great.
It was just acting by himself and just killing it, and he was doing it. So that's how those movies make it. Like you need the actors to pretend like it's not stupid that they're talking to cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
And he and Christopher Lloyd, and I forget the woman's name that played Dolores. She was so good.
Yeah, and they're just like actually going for it, and
love it. And that's also like they found a way. This is like before studios really got their mitts on like properties and this and that. Mm-hmm. Like you're not going to see a movie with Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny in it.
Never again.
Like we're not going to see Looney Tunes and Disney characters and all these other like Betty Boops, and like they're not all going to be in the same movie. Like that was pretty crazy. Like,
and this was the first time like I had seen, like you watch like Mary Poppins and you see like people dancing around cartoon characters, but this is the first time I've ever seen them interact.
Yeah, and I guess it was like the stories on this movie it was like the worst and most difficult movie in the world to make, and nobody would ever make it. Robert Zemeckis did. And also when you consider it came out in the 80s, you're like, Jesus Christ, like they didn't have all the stuff that they have now.
Yeah.
And it still looks as good as it does.
I'm going to have to check that out. I'm going to make my kids watch it and see what they think.
Yeah, I'd be interested actually to see what...
I don't think they'll like Christopher Lloyd at the end of that movie.
No, they'll be scared to death. In fact, they're not going to want to see the scene where he takes the little tiny shoe / slipper and puts her in the dip.
No.
I hated that as a kid. So
yeah, I don't like that.
They're not going to like that.
as always, Richard, this month, and again, forgive my physical appearance, but I would just like to use my pick of the pod to
5 o'clock shadow over here.
I know it sucks. I totally screwed up. I actually did this once. One other time, I actually used the wrong attachment, but I did it on my head. Yeah, bad news. Actually, in that instance, I forgot to put the attachment on, and did like a chunk out of the back of my head. Yeah. So anyway, I would like to plug. Please go to Movember.com or go to mobro.co, not com. So it's mobro.co/RVonD to check out my Movember page. We've raised at this point almost $700 this month with about 2 weeks to go. My goal, as always, is $2,000 to be raised. And I would just like to take this time to thank several people who have reached out and who have donated, that being Jeff Dwight, Chris Jesperson, Norman Shippey, Dr. Joe Gilmore, and Kevin Howlett, and just so you know, it's a very worthy cause, Mr. Rich Keefe, for donating some time and some money to checking out the Movember page. If Rich Keefe can do it,
anybody
can do it.
Anybody can. You're very welcome, Ryan. And yeah, it's pinned to Davey's profile. We tweeted it out as well. So just click there. We still got over a week by the time you're listening to this, over a week left in Movember. So if you can, help them out.
If you can, if you got it, it's a cup of coffee. What do you need?
What are you doing?
Skip
a cup. Brew it at home. Do home brew.
And it's all like, again, if you look at, I know a lot of people say stuff like this before, like, oh, where's the money really going? They break down all their financials on their website. If you look at it, it'll show you where the money goes. And I would think over 80% of it goes to actual charities that are championing men's health. So please, at least start a conversation with somebody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
You can rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and just about everywhere else podcasts are available. We are #Dork. You can follow us on Twitter at Dork Podcast and at RVonD. We're on Instagram as well at Dork Podcast. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dork Podcast, and you can email us at any time, including what are your best video games of the decade, to dorkpodcast@gmail.com. Our best of the decade, not century, continues.
Not century, yes.
Next week, Ryan, we're going to be doing something that it's the fourth of the core 4 topics on #Dork. Next week is going to be best comic books of the decade.
Cosmic books.
The best of the cosmic books.
Yeah.
So that's another one where feel free to email us and tweet us some of your favorites, even before we record the episode. Maybe give us some ideas and let us know which ones you think should be on there. That's all that I got, Ryan. You got anything?
That's the way the news goes.
16 Rapples.
All right.